Yes, thank you for the opportunity to being here talking about wave energy, and this is going to be big. First of all, I'll ask you to forget everything that you know about wave energy, and for those of you who don't know anything or little, hopefully this will be an educational lesson. Oh, no, the wrong way, yeah. Where do I point? There? Okay. In 1889, Thomas Alva Edison, the inventor of the light bulb and the motion picture camera and the phonograph, the first audio recording device, he was on a journey across the Atlantic. I think he was going for a conference in Paris, and he sat on deck of the ship for hours during that journey, watching the waves. And after that, he stated, "It made me positively savage to think of all that power going to waste." And indeed, it is a tremendous waste of energy. Oceans cover 2/3 of the planet, more than that actually, 71%. And I loved the image that Guillermo Sonline showed us yesterday of the world, the globe, facing the Pacific, showing only water. So it's sort of a misleading name calling this planet the Earth, because only 1/3 is actually Earth, the rest is oceans. And those oceans are covered with moving waves filled with energy, enough energy to power the entire humanity. All of our electricity consumed at the moment and in the foreseeable futures can be covered with wave energy alone. And also, it's the most concentrated form of renewable energy. Waves are made, they are generated by winds blowing at the ocean surface. So wave energy is actually concentrated wind energy, and wind energy is concentrated solar energy. So you get this double concentration, 10 to 30 times the amount of the concentration of solar energy is in the waves. And at the same place, same location, the waves hold up to 5 times more energy than the wind at the same location, 20 meters above the surface. This is a quote from late Professor Johannes Fallnes. He's a Norwegian professor, equivalent to the, if you compare to nuclear power, he is, you might say, the Niels Bohr or Enrico Fermi of wave energy. I come back to that. But wave energy has this, all these advantages. It's high energy density, and it's persistent, far more persistent than wind, predictable, and most of the places where we can put it, it's out of sight for humans, and we are utilizing those spaces of the planet that we are currently not using for much else. I know, Guillermo, you're planning to use those spaces, 2/3 of the planet. The surface we are planning to use, yet it's fellow spaces. And you have minimal wake effect compared to wind. Wind turbines, you have to use a lot of space because each wind turbine sort of ruins the flow pattern of the air. But that's not the case for wave energy. So you can cram wave energy farms into smaller spaces, and it's environmentally friendly. Not only environmentally neutral, but it's actually beneficial for the ecosystems. I said the word ecosystem, and in the correct meaning. And you have a tremendous potential. 45,000 terawatt hours a year, and that's a modest estimate. So our vision at Hydrocraft is we want to make, and we are on the quest to make wave energy commercially feasible. We are going to lead wave energy to a commercial technical breakthrough. And that leads to a question, why has no one done this before? And we get that question quite a lot. And how come you think that you are able to do it when no one else has succeeded? And there have been a lot of failures in the past. And here are some examples of those failures. Some of the concepts have failed in that they don't produce enough energy. They are too inefficient. And some have failed because they are destroyed by the waves, and some both. And some of these projects have failed spectacularly. So many of the investors previously involved in wave energy, they have bad experiences. And why is that so? I think the main reason for previous failures is that one hasn't understood the problem profoundly enough. Many of these concepts, there's a solution, and we apply that solution to a problem. I think, that's my philosophy, you should understand the problem you're about to solve, and you should understand it really and thoroughly. And then, often, you will find that the solution reveals itself. I think if I had another half an hour, I could explain the problem, and many of you brilliant people here would come up with a solution that is close to what we have done at Purenco. But the very problem, the biggest problem of utilizing wave energy is that you have those normal waves, smaller and middle-sized waves, the gentle waves that prevail most of the time, 95% of the time, and you want to extract as much possible of energy from those waves. But then you have the bigger waves, just a small portion of the time during a year you have waves that are too big, and the biggest of those big waves may have an energy content of 100 times the average energy transport in the waves during a year. So what you need to do, you need to handle both the smaller waves and the bigger waves. I can compare it to the middle-sized bully in the schoolyard. That bullies all the smaller kids, but he stays away from the bigger ones. He doesn't try to bully them. And that's what we are doing. We are sort of bullying the smaller and the middle-sized wave, and we sway away from the big ones. Except that we are not bullying, we are extracting energy from them, trying to be a part of the solution on the global warming problem. And I'll show you how we... No, back, forth, wrong way. There, yeah, this is how we do it. In the smaller and middle-sized waves, you have this orange floater. It's a point absorber, is the correct terminology in wave power, bobbing up and down with the waves, and it's attached to a rope and a pulley system that causes that moves the energy mechanically into a winch unit, making a winch drum rotate, and that rotating mechanical motion is converted through a smart system, which I'll be happy to explain in details for those of you who are interested in that, into electricity. And then, in larger wave, this happens. The float just rides on top of the wave, allowing the energy from that giant wave to just pass by, destroying anything that's behind it, but it survives, and the energy is not absorbed by the power takeoff system. So you're just, in smaller waves, you absorb the power. In larger waves, you do not do that. That's the simple solution to the problem. Okay, this is how it works. This is an animation from our patent application. We have patented this, and the key innovative feature is this slip clutch here. When I explained it to Julia, she nailed it. It's like a circuit breaker, she said. Yes, it's like a circuit breaker, only that this is a mechanical circuit breaker. And it doesn't break it entirely, it just controls the flow of energy into the system so that you don't get more energy into the system than the system is able to handle. So it survives. Yeah, and we are developing this technology, and we will sell it to energy companies, governments, municipalities. We are already on track on doing that for the land-based version of our hydrovac technology. And we will also gain money on maintenance and planning sites, and also installing this technology. And we have the technology comes in two versions. That's the hydrovac onshore. Hydrovac stands for Hydrocraft Wave Energy Converter. We have the winch unit with the power takeoff system and a generator safe on land, and the floats in the ocean outside. And then that's what we had now. And then we are going for developing the offshore version of the technology, where we simply put the power takeoff unit in the sea. That sounds simple, but we need funding to go through that step, and that's where we can conquer the world's ocean. Yes, proof of concept. We have had several prototypes in the sea and in towing tanks. We have done mathematical modelings and lab tests showing that the technology is, in fact, survivable. It survives the highest waves, and it is efficient in smaller waves at a fairly low cost. And here you can see some examples of that. I'll show you the video of that's a surviving incident in very high waves. And in the middle, this one is a simulation of, I think, a series of 25-meter high waves. And you can see the red lines shows the stress on the system, and the blue line is the braking loads. So, okay. Yeah, better now? Yes. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. And this one, in the mathematical model, we disabled the slip clutch, the mechanism, the circuit breaker, and you can see what happened. Yeah, the system was destroyed immediately. And then at the far right, that's the curve there is the theory, and those dots are actually empirical testing and measurings of the efficiency of the system. And those, you can see those match, and that leads to a confirmation of the cost of energy calculations that we have did. Okay, the wrong. Okay, I see this first. This is the. I'll show you this video. You might want to turn down the volume a bit, because there's a lot of noise from the wind and the waves. It's a stormy day. Yeah, this is one of our prototypes, and you can see here comes a giant wave, 4 to 5 meters, and the float just rises on top of it. And that's due to the overload shedding mechanism that I explained. We can see this in action. You see here, this is the cutoff mechanism, and you can see it starts to rotate now. The forklift is driving at a speed of maybe 20 kilometers an hour. That's a 25-meter high wave, 6 meters per second, and you can see the slip clutch engaged and made everything survive. Just a thin 3 millimeter thick wire, you saw that. And we also did tests of energy efficiency. I love to go into detail on this, but I'll skip that. The point is, these dots are the actual tests, and that is the theoretical line showing that this is actually quite far more efficient than equivalent technologies. And that leads to the cost of energy calculations that we have done at 7 euro cents per kilowatt hour. And that, as you can see, that's competitive with solar and wind and fossil fuels. But that is before we apply what we call optimum phase and amplitude control. I'll talk about, tell you a short bit about optimum phase and amplitude control in a while, but we expect, this is standard projections, that the cost will go down by better manufacturing and maintenance and installing methods and scaling up and going offshore. But the most important thing with optimum phase and amplitude control, we expect that the technology will be far more efficient and thus cheaper, more cost efficient. And phase and amplitude control, that is something that they researchers at the Norwegian Technical University in Trondheim, which is an equivalent to ETH here in Zurich, they discovered 40 years ago. Well, I'd love to go geeking about this, but the thing is that with this method, which was discovered by these two gentlemen, late Associate Professor Kjell Budal and Professor Johannes Fallnes, who passed away last year, can make a wave energy converter absorb 2 to 5 times as much energy as it normally would by controlling it actively. But that, for that you need a wave energy converter that actually works and that actually survives the highest waves. And I didn't have that. So what we have, 50 years or 40 years later, we have the foundation to make the works of Professor Johannes Fallnes and Kjell Budal to make that viable. Our technology, our Hydroec, survives the biggest waves, and it's efficient by itself. And with the excellent work of the researchers at NTNU, it can become twice as efficient or even more without being more costly. Sorry, back and forth. Wrong way. Yes, and that will make wave energy with the Hydroec technology even more cost efficient than hydropower, as you can see from this comparison. And one more good news, we scale up by multiplying. So we don't have those scaling risks as you see in offshore wind, for example. Because we need only to verify the one unit works, and if we want to make a bigger installation, we just add more units. So 1 megawatt farm, we have a basic unit of 40 kilowatts, and we just multiply by 25, and we have a 1 megawatt farm. And we are now testing this technology. We have a grant from the Norwegian authorities and some private capital, and we are now in the middle of building a semi-commercial pilot at the island of Utsira of western Norway. Here, there are 2 wind turbines there already, and we are going to add that pilot. It's a 10 kilowatt pilot, and it will be installed in August this year, and then the real demonstration will be through the autumn and the winter, that this will survive and also be as efficient as we promise. And we are already doing it. Next slide. There. Yes. Trondheim Engineering, that's a very competent engineering company in Norway, and they are building this for us now. And this is what it will look like. 19th of August, we have scheduled to open it. Yeah, and we are doing this along with excellent partners, both in Norway, Sweden, and Austria, and other countries. And from there, we will be going offshore, and that's why we are having another funding round now. Yes, I think I need to skip this part because I'm out of time. But wave energy is, you can combine it with wind projects. I'll take questions later, and it will be very beneficial for offshore wind installations, adding wave power to it. Yes. Yeah, we have a short timeline to market because the technology is already, it's ready for deployment. And we have an excellent team. These are Norwegians, but they are great names. These two are great names in the wave energy business. Well, we asked for, to do the offshore project, we need about 6 million euros, of which we will, I think we'll have 3 million euros from Norwegian governmental fundings. That's the easy part to get. And then we'll ask for 3 million more to match that public grants. And that will take us to market readiness, both for the onshore version, where we are now, and the offshore version, and from there we will conquer the oceans. I think this will be the very next energy revolution of the planet. Sorry, yeah, okay. Yeah.